Here's what's on today's Sports Stove Local Hour. It's Western Week, and we got some things to discuss. We got some great guests on today, too. We're going to have Marcus Calwise as well as Gabe Fletcher. We're going to recap Mississippi State, preview Western Kentucky. We've got a guest coming from Western Kentucky from Topper Talk as well. That's what's cooking on today's Sports Stove Local Hour.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Local Hour presented by All Around Roofing. Go to allaroundroofingky.com for more information. I don't want to waste any time because we've got several guests on today. We've got a lot to get ready for this week as well. And so let's welcome in Ryan Jackson joining me here. Ryan, how you doing, man?
Doing all right.
Well, let's start with Mississippi State. And first of all, I know what the score is, and I know no one's happy with the score and blah, 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 whatever. I felt like after the first two Mississippi State drives, you guys kind of settled in, and I thought really played fairly well the rest of the game. That first drive was offensive drive for Mississippi State was kind of discouraging, but it really felt like after that it did settle in. And you guys, how did you guys feel about how things went down?
Yeah, the scoreboard obviously wasn't what we wanted to put on the field, but I liked our intensity. I liked how hard we played, and it was just a lot of little short details and little attention to detail stuff that get you caught against good teams like that. And you can't make those small mistakes against really good teams, especially like a Mississippi State. But everyone's head's still high. It's still just one loss on the record to where we'll have to catch back up. And it's not – we have a good mature group to where we knew what fight we were going to be getting into. It's not the result that we wanted, but we showed on film that we can play, we can hang with those type of guys, and we have a good team. And I feel like if you watch the clips closely, you can definitely tell that.
What was the attitude like after that first touchdown? Because I'm sitting here at home watching, and I'm just a fan. I haven't put in all the work and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here at home watching, and the first touchdown happens, and I'm like, oh, come on now. Let's not do that again. And then, like I said, afterwards, then it made me feel better because it didn't continue all game long. It was right. One play and whatever. But I noticed Coach Wells, he wasn't happy, obviously, but he also wasn't screaming and yelling and stuff like that. So what was the attitude like on the sideline after that quick touchdown?
One thing Coach Wells always preferences with us is don't watch the scoreboard, never scoreboard watch. As long as you're in a game, you're in a game. And I feel like that's kind of the bulk of our attitude, to where we don't pay attention to whatever the score is during the game. We more pay attention to what it's like at the end of the game, to where you're just playing as hard as you can for your brothers and you're trying to be the best version of yourself the whole time. Now, it's a sad reaction when you see one of your friends that's worked very hard and has one of those things just unfortunately happen to him. And everybody gets beat, everyone loses, but you just got to sit there, pick that guy up and let him know, like, we got to shake that play off. It's time for the next drive, next series.
Now, I know the correct answer to this question. I'm going to ask it anyways to see what you give me. I know you guys believe that you could go in and win that game, and that was your expectation. That's what you worked towards. I also understand that it's Mississippi State, and they're going to be a tough opponent. You were the underdogs. You were big underdogs, whatever. So I know we've talked about this last year. Having these moral victories doesn't do a whole lot for you. And I don't know that I'd call this a moral victory. I think there were moral victories in it. But is it easier to get past this one because you can say, listen, we went in, we played hard, we gave effort, we got things to fix, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't impact our season when it comes down to conference play and stuff like that?
Yeah, I like I always say, there's no good way to lose except for when you learn. If you don't learn from a loss, then that's not a good way to lose. I feel like the film that we put on is all just learning opportunities, and instead of looking at it as a loss that doesn't affect our season, it's a loss that we can grow from, and it's a loss that we can learn from, instead of it doesn't really matter as much, or it's not as big of a deal. It's still a big deal because winning and losing is a big deal, but it's more of a loss to where you sit down and you see what you evaluate and see what you can get better on in the next week.
I like it. Let's talk about your offense a little bit. We're gonna talk to a couple of your teammates here in just a minute. But on the offensive side of things, again, overall, I thought overall it was good, especially the play side of it. I love Coach Richmond. I question a couple of his play calls here and there as a fan. We all do. But I thought as far as the production on the field, what Josh Carter and Braden Latham did, I thought was phenomenal. And then we see what Matt did in his first game at EKU. I thought it was pretty decent. So I know you're sitting there. You're there to pick up the offense. The offense is there to pick you guys up. So what did you think about the offensive side of the ball against Mississippi State?
I think the best thing about our offense is that they won't quit. You can drag them down. You can get as many fourth downs as you want on them. They're not going to stop. They're not going to quit. And I think Matt Morrissey did a heck of a job trying to lead the team throughout the entire game. Braden Latham and Josh Carter did as much as they can carrying the ball. But you saw how physical our line played up front against those guys. They've shown they can run the ball against SEC-type talent before. And it's nothing new to a lot of guys like John, Peyton, and Vince. You just see that they're fighters, and they don't want to lose just as much as we do, and they know they're in bad situations too. So I that's the most positive thing I can say about our offense without deep diving through the film is they compete, they fight, and they're scrappy.
Yeah. Carter and Latham went for 33 carries and 149 yards. In your average football game, that's going to be enough to win a football game. So that's a solid performance from those guys and the O-line up front. Matt was able to stay clean in the game as well. So shout out to the O-line for that. Also, he did get sacked twice. He had the one interception. Coach talked about that a little bit in the press conference. Just, those are the kind of things you got to learn from and see, and that'll come with time. And even with Coach didn't blame it on the route running, but he made the assumption, or he made it sound like it wasn't just on Matt. There was multiple things involved in that. And so I thought overall Matt looked good. I thought it was funny. Peyton was on the press conference this week, and I just asked, hey, what was it like with a different voice in the huddle? And he said, yeah, it was definitely a little weird not having Parker in there. But I thought Matt looked good overall. And we're going to talk to Marcus here in just a second. But what Marcus did on the receiving side of things, led with 5 catches, 45 yards. And then Daquan Stanley came off the bench, 4 catches for 33 yards, was pretty awesome too. So I thought overall it was good, and impressed with what they were able to do. And, I think I'm intrigued. We'll talk about this after the interviews and we talk about Western, but I saw the depth chart has flipped around a little bit in a couple positions. And I'm intrigued by that. I think some of it's guys that are going to be playing the same amount of snaps. It's just who's getting the first snap versus who's getting the second snap. But overall, I thought it was good. You didn't have Hunter Brown. He will be back at Western this week too, so that's pretty exciting. But anyways, let's get into our interviews, and let's talk with some more guys. This is a guy I've not yet met and talked with, but he's had a great summer. And like I said, he was the leading receiver in the game against Mississippi State as well. And so let's bring him on and talk to him. Ryan, I know you don't ever get to cover out wide, but nonetheless, let's talk to Marcus Calwise. Let's bring him in. Hey, Marcus, how you doing? You're muted, just so you know.
You can hear me?
Yeah, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. You?
Doing awesome. Thanks for coming on, and congrats on week 1, leading the team in receptions. And how did it feel to be there on the field running against guys that weren't wearing the same jersey as you?
It definitely felt great. It was a different atmosphere to play in, playing college ball, and then especially playing at that type of that field and the kettlebells. Coach, he prepared us for playing in that type of situation. So just playing in that situation and playing on that field and at the next level, it was a dream come true.
What's the biggest difference between high school and college ball?
I want to say the tempo. The tempo of the game is very different. In high school, you got time to substitute and change players out, but And college ball is it's like that, one play after the other. It's hard hitting. I'm not saying high school football isn't hard hitting, but college football is a different level for sure.
Ryan, who was your first game in college that you played in?
Marshall.
Marshall. Okay. So some similarities there. I was saying I can't imagine going from high school to Mississippi State. Turn the page and here you go. Start you off easy at the very least. Marcus, you're one of, if not the only freshman, I think the only freshman starter on the team this year. And I mean, talk about that camp, summer, all that kind of stuff that you were able to earn this spot. Like, I don't know. How do you feel about being a young guy earning playing time?
It's not really. I wouldn't say it's really a feeling. It's just me playing football. Me get like whenever I get the opportunity to do something, I do it 110% every time. Coach talk about straining, I strain every play. Um, I get coached up by the vets, the receivers that we got that's already here. They coach me up, tell me things that, oh, if it's one high, you do this. If it's too high, you do this. Like little things like that. Critiquing my skills. It's getting me better and just giving me an opportunity to be a starter.
I like it. Ryan, you don't hang out with the wide receivers a whole lot, but what do you got? What do you got for Marcus?
No, I like little Calwise. Me and him joke around every now and then. He came out there one day in some 3XL pants that nobody never got over that. He was Jackie Robinson. But I gotta ask Calwise, how was your high school? Because being able to adjust to a speed that quickly, you had to have gone to one of the more either higher high schools or y'all very competitive.
All right. So I'm coming from Georgia. Georgia is a hard knocks. Like it's a lot of competition up there. I played for my head coach. His name was Coach Skelton. I played for him. He was my strength and conditioning coach my whole high school career, but he ended up becoming a head coach. And he prepared me. He always told the seniors that, man, I'm gonna prepare you for college. Like we gonna play football in high school, but we're gonna prepare you for college too. So just being able to be prepared in high school and knowing what I was gonna do when I came in, it just already had the mindset of I gotta work and I know nothing gonna come easy.
Your uncle, I just found this out today, is Desmond King, who plays in the NFL. You've got a couple other teammates that have siblings or relatives that have played or are playing in the NFL as well. So, and I don't know what your relationship is with your uncle. So, what have you been able to learn stuff from that as far as that work? I know you have to develop your own work ethic and all that kind of stuff, but learning, hey, to get to the next level, college, and then the next level after that, here's kind of what you have to do at all from your uncle?
Well, I talk to him here and there, but what he really tell me is like, cause he plays defensive back, so it's like he told me the little things and what DBs are gonna do on certain things and certain movements because that's what he did when certain DBs did certain things. Like he told me make everything look like he's like when coaches tell you make everything look like a go ball, he said he mean that because it get the DBs on their feet and it make them not like it make them scared and you don't know what they're gonna do. So he just tell me little things like that. He give me tips and just coming from a DB, like the little tips that he do give me, I take them and I use them to my advantage.
Do you and Jacob Horn ever compare notes with having relatives that are DBs?
No, we really don't. We really don't talk about it as much, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna become a thing in the long run.
You guys got a lot of guys in that receiver room, a lot of guys with talent. Three of you guys are listed as starters, but we see a lot more than three guys on the field. And of course, Daquan came in and played a really good ball game this week too. What's that atmosphere like in the wide receiver room?
It's a good atmosphere to be in. I would say we push each other every day. Like no one, how we look at it. Like people say certain people are starters, but like you said, we got a lot of receivers, so we look at it as nobody's a starter. If you do good, if and you go 100%, 110%, you straining, then you gonna get on the field, and that's what Coach Cox he tells us that all the time. He's like, ain't nobody starting on the EKU receiver football team. Like everybody they got the same level. They on the same platform. So if you want to play, you got to earn your spot.
And Rhino, you guys, it's kind of similar with the D line, right? I mean, you got enough guys there that you're going to be rotated through a bit and things like that too. You get to see that. We've seen it in the past years, and Ryan's talked about it last year, especially that it's not about being afraid to miss a snap. It's having the confidence to know that when you come out, whoever's coming in for you is going to give that same effort and very similar production at the very least, right?
Sure.
I like it. What else you got for Marcus?
Calwise, you've been around Richmond for a little bit, and you probably will be judged on this, but your opinion will change as you continue your Eastern Kentucky career. What is one of your favorite food spots here in Richmond?
I haven't really been around here as much, like you said, but
Oh yeah, you eating case.
Yeah. I would say because we don't have in Georgia, we don't have Apollo's. I don't think, not in my area. So I will say the Apollo's is pretty good. That's what I had the most of. That's what I like the most.
A lot of Apollo's. Rhino, I know this is probably a conversation for off the air, but I did talk with Brady's Sushi. We might be having a get together there at some point as well. I know Ryan likes Brady's Sushi. Marcus, have you been to Brady's yet?
Actually, I have. Brady's is good. I just it's crazy because I got some leftovers over here from Brady's I had yesterday. I had some hibachi.
Nice. Free advertising for Brady's. They owe us some money now since we advertised for them. No, it's good. It's good. Marcus, what are you looking forward to the most in this upcoming game against Western?
What I look forward to most, definitely come out with a win. And just show people that EKU isn't just a team to be ran over, because we didn't it's a whole bunch of on social media they talking. We don't, as players, Coach Well, he tell us, hey, let him handle that. We're gonna play football. We're gonna play in between the lines. We're gonna play football. So just coming into the game, we're gonna show them what EKU really about.
So I'll ask you both this question. So there has been a lot more social media buzz this week than originally anticipated. And has there been anybody on Western that's reached out to you guys? I don't know, Ryan, do you know anybody that plays for Western?
Unfortunately, no.
No? Okay. So it's just general social media chatter, nothing specific?
No, it's nothing specific. It's just people posting one thing, people commenting on one thing, and then it's just crazy from there.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. I know I talked to Coach Wells on Tuesday about this, but what kind of conversation or history lessons have you guys been given about the rivalry between Western and Eastern?
They don't like each other at all. Not one bit. They don't like each other at all. That's one thing he put in our head, and he's gonna keep putting it in our head. He's gonna let us know. So he just letting us know that the history and the rivalry it runs deep, and it's really not nothing to play about. And we're gonna come and show Coach what we really about.
I like it. I was trying to look through the roster real quick while we were talking, because I thought there was two guys on the roster listed as being from Covington, Georgia. And now I can't find who the second guy was. Is there somebody? Did you go to high school with somebody else that's on the team, or no?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay. For the life of me, I can't figure out who that was. I swore I saw it the other day, but it doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Marcus, listen, first of all, a lot of positive things were talked about you over the summer. And I know the staff and people in the program are really excited about what you bring to the program. And week one, man, you showed it for sure. But obviously, we're looking ahead now to week two, and we're excited to see what you guys put out on the field against Western, and really hoping that you guys come away with a win on Saturday to silence some of the haters out there. But Marcus, I appreciate you taking time for us tonight, man, and chatting with us, and man, wishing you luck the rest of the way as well.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for letting me on here.
You're welcome. That's Marcus Calwise, receiver. Marcus Calwise Jr., I guess, receiver for EKU. Didn't want to disrespect his father there, so appreciate him coming on. And again, Rhino, we talked about the receiver group throughout the offseason and stuff, and all this talent that's there. And it's amazing that a freshman wins a starting job out there, and he's out there leading the team in catches against Mississippi State. That's impressive stuff, man.
Yeah, one thing about that kid Calwise, he works so hard, and he he really earns everything that he's been given. All those opportunities that he came up with in Mississippi is stuff that he does in practice. The play without the ball, he blocks more than anybody. I mean, he's just another one of those kids that got it and understands what it takes to be at pro earlier.
Well, I'm excited to see how it continues to develop, especially as him and Matt have more time to, get comfortable with each other and everything as well. It's an exciting time for sure. Let's bring on now one of your friends and cohorts. I'm not sure, you've told me how much you really dislike this guy, but we'll bring him on and talk to him anyways. He's another D lineman from EKU, Gabe Fletcher. Hey, Gabe, how you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm acting like Calwise. I have my stuff muted.
Hey, smart man. You never know what people can hear. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting me on the show again.
Hey, man, glad to have you. We couldn't leave out the sack leader for EKU this year, Gabe Fletcher. So, man, how did that feel, man?
It was surreal. I didn't know what it was real for real at first. That's why I was looking at the screen. I'm trying to make sure that I got a sack. Like, did I just actually get a sack? I ain't do no celebration, no nothing. It was too real for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now that you got one under the belt, I'm sure you're now visualizing the next one, right?
Yes, sir. I plan on getting 2 this weekend.
Okay. So, Ryan, what are you going to do to take care of that? I mean, are you going to get 2 also, or what are we doing?
Unfortunately, I'll probably take up the blocks to let Gabe get some of these sacks. As long as he's producing, I'm happy. I have to catch up to him because I did say to some of the guys, like, I hope y'all know Gabe does have a sack. Like, we got to catch up to him during the game the other week. But I don't know. I just do my best.
Gabe, talk about your time here at EKU and the progress that you've seen in yourself since coming in. You came in 2020, so you've been around for a while now. So how much have you grown since that time that you came into the program?
It feels like I've been here for like most of my life. It feels like, so I feel like I've grown a lot. Like, I literally been a baby here, and I'm now a more of a mature grown man. Like, I used to get in trouble. I wasn't like Calwise or Ryan or all the other guys as a freshman. I was more like the one that you see like, oh yeah, that's a freshman. I'm the one just acting bug wild, doing all the crazy stuff, and I'm just happy something finally clicked in me to finally mature, because it took me 3 years really to mature, and then these last 2, I've been, I don't know, stacking my days better. I've been taking what my friends doing that has more success. I'm saying, like, what y'all doing? Taking like advice from Ryan, saying how I can stack the better days. So I stack it now. I'm writing down goals now. Like, if I could turn my camera around, I'll show you my goals. I got rid of my mirror, and it's just like filled up. I just write goals now that I can actually achieve, or things I don't believe I can achieve, and then I say it that I can achieve it, then I achieve it.
Nice.
Kind of weird how that works, but it really works.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Ryan, obviously you've known Gabe all this time as well. So tell me what you've seen out of Gabe in his time at EKU.
Nothing. No, I'm playing. Gabe has made major improvements to not only his attitude, but his mentality towards the game. How he comes to practice and how he prepares for games is a whole lot different than how he did his freshman year. He's made so many strides, it's hard to count. Like, from where we started to where we're at now, he's almost a completely different person, but he's the same happy-go-lucky, happy guy that's always been a part of our program. And everyone loves him. I think he could move an army with his voice, but Gabe knows how I feel about him. And I think he has built his respect amongst the team that he could never even imagine how much people really do want to see him be successful.
Gabe, if you've watched Ryan and in his time, get more playing time. Now he's been a captain 2 years in a row, things like that. He's leaving, right? You're going to be here when he's gone. So, do you have those leadership aspirations? You're saying, okay, now it's my time, this year to start to lead. And then next year, man, it'll be my time to step up and lead.
Honestly, it's not my goal to be like a leader, but I will have to take over. Like, it's going to be like Ryan's passing the torch, because like Ryan, if you don't know it, you say he's been a captain 2 years in a row. I thought he was a captain 3 years in a row. This guy's been doing it all. Like, so it's going to be weird not seeing him. Like, it's already weird not seeing Parker McKinney. So losing Ryan is going to be weird. So like, I don't know, but our friendship, like how we live each other. Dang, how we live our life is like how we supposed to be. Like you know how people say, "Show me your friends, I'll show you your future." So I think that being friends with Ryan has already instilled them leadership goals and achievements that I can do. You feel me?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm saying this thing right, but yeah.
No, I got you. Yeah, I got you for sure. So you guys get first game of the year this year. You get Mississippi State. Obviously, you get the sack, which is awesome. How do you feel overall that you guys played? Again, we talked about this at the beginning. I think you were listening where I know the outcome isn't what you wanted it to be, obviously, but do you feel, hey, we learned some things in this game, and I think it made us better heading towards Western Kentucky?
Yeah, I feel like it happens like every year. Every year that we play somebody, we get like I'm not gonna say we lose, but most years I've been here, we lose our first game, and then that second game is we either win it or we go to 7 overtimes, or we do a lot of things. So I know this next game it's like that first game is always a wake up call. Like, yeah, bro, we playing football now. We're not playing around. There's no more practice. So I'm ready. I'm excited to see what these boys gonna do, especially our DB room. Like I said it before, we got one of the best DB room in the country, and I think they got a little egotistic when people get too cocky. They get lackadaisical. So I think that woke them up. So now they're not on their toes no more. They're on their heels. They let them know like, yeah, we're coming to fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Looking ahead to Western, obviously, for the fan base, it's probably means a little bit more as far as the sentiment of it than it does for you guys, because you guys haven't played Western before, and a lot of the fan base was around when it was a massive rivalry and things like that. I know, Ryan, you've got connections over there. I know Coach has connections over there. All that kind of stuff as well. But the in-state games, last year you guys played Kentucky. You've got 2 in-state games this year as well. I know it doesn't mean more, but is there a different emotion behind playing a team like Western Kentucky in Kentucky versus playing something Utah or something like that?
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
What's the other in-state game we played this year?
Moorhead.
Oh, Moorhead. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel about WKU? Like we don't have all the same traditions as all the other people that have been here long enough. So we hyping it up. Like, if you've been here, if everybody that's been a freshman took that one class where you have to learn about EKU, and we realize that we're the original UK and that WKU came after us, so we're really the big brothers. And if you've been here, I've been here since 2020. We almost had a chance to go to the Conference USA, and WKU said, "No, we don't want them to be there because they're scared." So like, it's just for me and all the other guys, it's just more of the proof to them. Who do y'all think y'all are? They saying that they're big brothers. It's not like actual hype or beef. It's just something we can build up that we can play against them with. So we say, who y'all think y'all big bro? And we really here to show y'all who the real big bros are. That's what at least in my head, because I'm a little bit more animated, so I like to imagine there's a little beef, so we can play a little harder.
Yeah, Ryan, we haven't got a chance to talk about this yet. Same idea to you. Western Kentucky's coming up, and again, I know you have connection there, but what does this game emotionally mean versus just your average game during the season?
Yeah, I guess the in-state games are a little bit more personal because you got to think we're just a couple minutes down the street from each other. We're not even taking a long bus trip to get there. But I've always viewed every game as the next game. But I would say the interstate ones, it feels personal because it feels like you're fighting over not just 2 schools fighting over something. You're fighting over a state. You're fighting over borders. You're fighting over a line. And I think that's what makes it more personal. And I think that's the best thing about, like, you put the word rivalries on games like this. And I think those are good because I haven't had a rivalry game since something like high school. So yeah. I feel like those games are supposed to be emotional. They're supposed to be where both teams are about to give it their absolute best and their absolute all just to beat each other. Not even that the games matter for anything, just to win. And I think that's the best thing about in-state games.
And I think for in-state games also, you got a lot of guys, both of you guys are from Tennessee, but there's a lot of guys on the team that are from Kentucky, and there's a handful, 5-6 guys that are from the Western Kentucky region as well. So they'll have a lot of family and friends and things like that maybe there that, that might be a little different as well. And then I'm curious your guys' perspective on. I did an interview Monday night for a podcast that covers Western Kentucky, and when we were recording, it really felt like this was just going to be a really friendly, rivalry, yes, but a really friendly kind of atmosphere. And then things turned very quickly this week, and we're not going to talk about that. I don't want to get you guys in trouble, and I've been asked to be careful about the situation. We'll talk about it after the interviews, but it hate's a strong word, but it feels like there might be some hatred coming into this game. Am I right? Gabe?
Oh, little hatred, just a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit. Not real hatred. I never hate anybody, but
right.
I hate their logo, so I hate them.
Yeah. What is their logo?
Yeah, I feel like it's a diss to us. Are they dissing us? Because like we seen Cabin on the Hill, and they think they the Hilltoppers. Who they dissing? See, I take that personally.
I like it. It's gonna be a fun weekend, guys. I'm not gonna make it. I was hoping to get down there. It's not going to work out for me to get there. So I'm going to be watching on TV. But the atmosphere, I think, is going to be a lot of fun for you guys. And I know last week was probably kind of cool just with all the noise and the tradition of Mississippi State. But this one might be more fun than the Kentucky game. I could be wrong on that. I don't know how you guys felt about the Kentucky game. But I think this atmosphere might be one of the funner atmospheres you guys have been a part of in your time at Eastern. So I don't know. We'll talk about it afterwards and see what you guys think. But I think it's going to be a blast. Ryan, what have you had to put up with from your dad this week? I know he's an EKU fan. He's going to support you 100%, but he's a Western guy. So have you had to put up with anything from him this week?
No, not really. My dad's a Western fan or a Western student, but an Eastern fan. And he's always just told me, go out and do your very best. It doesn't matter who the competition is. I mean, don't even dwell the fact that I went to Western. I was blah, blah, blah. Then we go down that rabbit hole, and I don't want to hear it anymore. But no, he's hitting me with a little bit of snippets just to tell me how personal the rivalry really was and how deeply rooted they really feel about it over there. And even though there might not be the same people playing anymore, the tradition still stands, and the lines are still drawn between Eastern and Western.
Okay, Gabe, last week, Western was able to manage, I think, 64 rushing yards. Let's see here. I'm looking real quick. 63 rushing yards, 40 passing yards. Now, again, that was against Alabama. We know Alabama is what Alabama is. But, Gabe, when you guys come into this game this week, what's the number one goal as far as what you're seeking the most to contain against Western Kentucky?
Their inside runs and counters.
Yeah. I like it, man. Gabe, you're the sack leader. I want you to soak it in. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to add to it. Okay, add to it this week.
You know how they do in baseball when you hit a home run, then everybody just plays it on mine.
Yeah,
that's why we gotta treat it, because then I'm gonna get so in my head, and I'm gonna get the next one. But I'm gonna get the next one if we just act like it's normal sometimes.
Yeah. Hey. No, don't act like it's normal, man. You celebrate it, my friend.
Just make it a regular occasion, please.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm finna go get that another one. 2 this weekend. I promise you. I promise
2 this weekend, and we'll be counting. I don't know if you remember this, Gabe. Last year, Ryan had a 2-sack game last season. So no, you had a 3-sack game, didn't you, Ryan?
It was called
2.5.
I was about to say it was called 2.5, but they gave me 3 on the box score the original time.
Yeah, because I remember he ran out of celebrations. So, so there you go, Gabe. Make sure you have two celebrations in the bag, so you're ready for it this week, right?
Yeah,
maybe 3. I don't think I can get 3.
That's never know.
Right. Hey, man, reach for the stars, my friend. Gabe, I'm excited for you. Congrats on the big sack last week, and man, we're looking forward to this game this week. So good luck this week, and I'll see you guys out on the field in 2 weeks when you guys are back home for the game as well. But Gabe, man, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem. That's Gabe Fletcher, EKU defensive lineman. I've been around almost as long as Ryan, and man, that was fun. It was fun to see his reaction to the sack last week on TV. And hey, did you catch any flack for having to be injured? Would you have a cramp? I think. Did you catch any flack from that?
it was super hot down there. I was catching cramps left and right. The only flack I really caught was from the sidelines and from my mom the whole time. I mean, it's hard to explain to her sometimes the stuff that happens in football. But yeah, it was super hot. Cramps were too occasional. I couldn't imagine.
Well, I thought it was great, man. You got, not only were you, of course, you were on screen the whole game, but man, they had your name pop up on the screen. They were talking about you, captain, defensive lineman Ryan Jackson. It was pretty awesome. So, so congrats on that for sure, as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition and we're going to talk about Western Kentucky. And before me and you, Ryan, dive into Western Kentucky a whole lot, we're going to bring on another guest. And he's a co-host of the Topper Talk podcast. And they were kind enough to have me on this week. And we're going to bring him on as Tyler. Tyler, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Doing good. And we wanted to bring you on for a couple minutes and kind of get some Western Kentucky perspective. And, you know, I said just a couple minutes ago, we talked on Monday night and it felt like it was going to be kind of a friendly rivalry game. And then something happened this week and the switch turned a little bit. And it kind of feels like maybe we're back in the olden days as far as the feelings toward the universities. I'm interested on your thoughts on how what you felt like the emotions changed from Monday night when we talked to what it's at right now.
Well, you know, the first thing I saw back came on Tuesday. I saw it on Twitter and I was like, well, this is weird. Then my wife, she was like, this seems just kind of petty, don't it? And I was like, I mean, maybe. And she read the entire response that Western gave. And she was like, that's professionalism. That's professional patriotism. And I was like, yeah, kind of. And then I saw where y'all's coach put out that lies. I was like, oh, well, here we go. And then, of course, Barstool picked it up. I saw the dude from KSR. He tweeted about it. Yeah. But I think from some of the Westerns' perspective, you know, we put it out there back in like July that, you know, this is a whiteout. And I'm here for it. I'm here for all the kind of the pettiness, if you would, because, I mean, that's what makes a rivalry a good rivalry. And man, I'm here for it wholeheartedly.
So I use the word gamesmanship is what I use for it. And Ryan, we're not going to let you comment on this, by the way. Wait till you graduate to comment on it. We'll bring you back after you graduate. We'll talk about it then. But yeah, it was I caught wind of it. I think Monday night, possibly. And no, I caught wind of it Tuesday night and asked a few questions, asked around, try to figure out what was going on with it and whatever. And yeah, and it just came down to there is a time frame. And so technically it's within the rights of the visiting team. And, you know, it is what it is. And gamesmanship, like I said, is the word that I use. I just think it really turned the heat up on this game in a good way. Like you said, I'm here for it too. And I'm excited about it. I want to talk about, because when I came on, we talked mainly about EKU. So I want to go back to last week. You guys had a tough opponent, just like EKU did. You guys played Alabama. Obviously did not go at all the way you guys wanted it to go. What do you think were the positives that came out of that game with Alabama?
I think, you know, when you play Alabama, you know, top 5 team in the nation, it kind of teaches you got to be gritty and you got to be able to step up. And if you don't step up, then you're going to get embarrassed, just like what happened. I feel like the guys took some lessons from that. Hopefully they're not still hung over from that, because as I said in our season preview, that to me, this kind of feels like a trap game. You know, you are coming off such a high or low, and depending on how you did, can you mature enough to push that game out the way and focus on this upcoming opponent? And I think they can, and I sure hope that the coach can get them there.
Yeah. You guys struggled really on the ground, you know, only 63 yards on the ground. What do you think is going to be different? Obviously the opponent's different, but what do you think is going to be the strength, I guess, of Western coming into Saturday?
From just the rushing game or just overall?
Overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Western we've prided ourselves on being a up-tempo, fast-paced, high-scoring team. when Helton took over, he's really had all them quarterbacks who get like record-setting yardage, like Bailey Zappi, Mike White. I mean, it's and that's kind of been our brand. Since he's been here, the rushing game has really suffered. I think the last 1,000-yard rusher we had was Ace Wells, and that was whenever the previous coach was here, two coaches ago. So hopefully we have the weapons that we have on offense really come to play, and our quarterback is able to sling the ball. Also, Helton, he's great at getting the transfer portal. As I said before, Bailey Zappi had the Stern brothers, came up with him from Houston Baptist. We got them offensive coordinator as well. I mean, really the strength is the up-tempo passing, big plays, getting big yardage, chunk plays.
Ryan, what questions do you have about Western coming in for Tyler? We want to get some inside details here, Tyler. Who's feeling bad, who's got hurt knees. No, I'm just kidding. Ryan, do you have any questions for Tyler about Western?
One question I would have, and this won't really affect me in the years to come, but could you see something like this being a rivalry that we start back up, or that we could attempt to continue?
I really hope so. Western and MTSU is known for the 100 miles of hate. And I really like the interstate directional rivalries, because there's a bunch of bad blood in it, going back to football, basketball, all through the years, OVC. I really hope we could make this, every year, every 2 years. Definitely make it a more constant game.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, I know Coach Wells said in his press conference this week that he's like, it's not currently on the schedule for another 4 or 5 years. And so I'm wondering how much they can address that, if they can, and if they can get something done, between ADs or coaches or whatever it may be. Because it just reminds you, Ryan, you could attest to this. Like the games between Central Arkansas have become a lot of fun because you guys have played them so much. You played them twice in the COVID year. You've played them at least once every season. You go back and forth, all those kinds of things. So it's been fun, but it's also Central Arkansas. So the home fans, they're not the parents are still traveling, but the community's not traveling to Arkansas. Because there's nothing in Arkansas but an ugly football field. So when you come to Western, now you're talking about 2.5 hours. You're talking about a game that people will go to. People showed up for Cincinnati, they showed up to Kentucky, and they'll show up to Western Kentucky as well. Man, I really do hope that they get this back on a regular schedule of some sort for sure as well. You talked about this possibly in a trap game, Tyler. What do you think about? I mean, what's your feeling right now, the atmosphere around the team? I know what the community's thinking because they've shared it on Twitter, but what do you think the atmosphere around the team is right now transitioning into this week?
Whenever I was watching the coaches' press conference, and especially the conference after the Alabama game and all the players, they was always talking about, this is in the past, we got to focus on the next game, because Helton also hasn't had a good track record against playing FCS schools throughout the years. Typically, it's always first game of the season, and we have lost multiple games to those teams. So I think nobody's really going to take it lightly, especially Helton, and definitely the TJ Finley, because he wants to come back and kind of redeem himself. I feel like the receivers really want to play better. And definitely the defense wants to show that they ain't going to get 63 dropped on them 2 games in a row. So I feel like the team is going to be ready for the game on Saturday, and I feel like the atmosphere around them is awesome.
On the defensive side of things, again, I understand it's Alabama, but they gave up 334 rushing yards. Is that something that's consistent for Western, or is that something that the opponent kind of dictated You know, I mean, obviously not going to give up 300 every game, but you know, just or are they? what's the defense looking like at Western?
Well, the Russian defense has kind of been our Achilles heel. Last year, whenever we were sitting there watching Western play Liberty at the Houchin Smith Stadium, Liberty ran like the same 2-3 plays during the second half for like one drive, maybe 2 drives. It was insane, and they could not figure out how to stop that play. And if you look throughout the games that Western has been close into, really the Russian attack has really hurt us. And that's just not this year. That's been previous few years. So I'm hoping that this season's different. You know, we did get some transfers in on the D line, and especially in linebacker, because they're definitely going to need to stop them holes and plug them up.
Last thing I got for you, Tyler, is I want to talk to you about the center and your guards on the offensive line, because that's who Ryan's going to be seeing, and he's going to be seeing a lot of them. We talked about Ryan on the Monday show that I did with you guys, that he's going to see double teams a lot. He does very regularly anyhow. How do you feel about your center and guards up there in the middle?
I feel very good about them because we kind of pride ourselves on our offensive line. You know, during the Alabama game, the quarterback only got sacked one time. And typically, I think last year they only averaged, I think, 1 sack a game. Now, we did lose 2 to 3 players, but we did bring in some transfers. But we also have Quantavious Leslie in there. And he just has awards after awards, and he's on watch lists. You know, he's been first team All Conference USA, second team All Conference USA, and that's going back to his freshman sophomore year. He's a great guard. The center, he's also pretty good. You know, he's kind of you know, we always had continuity with the offensive line, and like I said, Western kind of prides themselves on keeping the QB clean.
So what I'm hearing is it's going to be a fun game because I feel like your guys' strengths on offense might be the weaker points of the EKU defense, and your weakness on defense is the stronger points of EKU's offense. It sounds like it's going to be a fun game, and I know the atmosphere is going to be electric. I know it's going to be an absolute amazing atmosphere there this week. Tyler, tell everybody about your guys' show, where people can find it. I know I shared it on my socials this week as well because I was on it. But if people are interested to go back and listen to the preview for this game and things like that, let everybody know about the show and where's it at.
All right, yeah, you can find us on Twitter or X at Topper_Talk, all capital letters. You can find us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify. Basically anywhere you can get podcasts, we will be there. Of course, on YouTube, you know, it's audio and video. Everywhere else, just audio. But yeah, man, it's a great. We cover all Western athletics, and we just have fun talking about the teams, about the sports, and how we want them to be and how they end up being. So yeah, it's great. We, as Moff said earlier, we are not professionals at all. I'm very amateur with this, but it is a passion of mine because I think sports is amazing and it's a great pastime.
It is indeed. Well, I appreciate you, Tyler. I appreciate you guys having me on this week, and encourage people to go and take a listen to Topper Talk this week. And we talked EKU for about 20 minutes on there this week on the show too, so people can go take a listen to that as well. Tyler, I appreciate you taking some time for me tonight. And man, I was going to say good luck, but no, not good luck. Hopefully good luck after this week for you guys moving forward, but I hope you enjoy the game on Saturday.
Yeah, man. Once again, thank you for having me on. It's been awesome. I hope a lot of EKU fans can make it to the game because, I mean, I think that just adds to the rivalry. Get some hostile environments in there, but hopefully everyone comes still wears white because, you know, it's still our whiteout, even though I think the football team's going to be wearing red jerseys. So it's going to be all messed up. But thank y'all for doing that.
Yeah.
But no, man, thank you for having me on, man. It's been fun.
Hey, man, thanks. That's Tyler again. Topper Talk. him and his co-host do that each week, and it was a fun to be on that program this week as well. I do appreciate them taking time to let me come on this week. All right, so Ryan, let's kind of wrap up the Western Kentucky talk, because I mean, we talked about it with Gabe a little bit as well. There's going to be an atmosphere here. What did you think about what I said? I think it's going to be a better atmosphere than Kentucky. What do you have that feeling, or just kind of wait and see?
One is one of those definitely kind of wait and sees. But if it's packed, it should feel like one of our games. So we should feel right at home. Because I've been in Western Stadium before, and it's a good size, but it's real close. So those are the stadiums I like better than the Mississippi State and Kentucky's, where everybody's so far away and you can just hear the chatter. If you can really hear a person on the sidelines, that's the better environment for me.
I haven't looked at the weather for this week, and I think it's supposed to be nice. Like, I mean, not super hot or anything. Last I saw, it's gonna be in the 70s, so should be a fun time. What do you think about I asked him about those offensive linemen. You were shaking your head at some of it. So what do you think you're going to be seeing against Western?
Oh, a fair amount of double teams. Their team's really good. They run a lot of counter, run a lot of power, and that's just what they do, and that's how they try and get their run game established. Unfortunately, they just want to get some juggernauts in Alabama the time before, but I'm sure we'll see the whole package. I expect their very best, and I hope they expect ours.
Yeah. He talked about their strength being the pass game, up tempo. Well, obviously you guys played probably the most up tempo team you're going to play all year against Mississippi State. And there might have been a design in that. Well, I don't know. It was a different coach, like probably when that got scheduled, but how much does that help you guys to have that up tempo game one, knowing that in game two, you're going to have at least somewhat similar tempo?
Yeah, it's good to go against tempo teams, especially early in the season, because one, you get to knock off that rust of having played football in a while, but now you kind of get used to like, these guys are going really fast. And you got to learn how to prepare your body to be able to breathe in those situations, get your calls, and still be able to focus. And getting to play a super fast offense like Mississippi's compared to another fast offense like Western, I mean, getting them back-to-back is more helpful than having them 1 week 1, 1 week 8. That's when it can get more difficult. But it's definitely nice to go ahead and get your feet wet with a tempo team early in the season.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Mentioned it earlier in the show. The depth chart gets switched around a little bit. We're gonna see a little bit more of Braden Sullivan at middle linebacker. I didn't ask. I think Maddox may have gotten hurt or something to that effect. But either way, he's not in the starting lineup this week. And then we saw the outside guys are getting flipped. So what last week was Cam Jr. and Gabe Stevens. This week it's Frank Lee and Jacquez McGowan. And obviously we've talked about all those guys. They're all really good. They're all going to see snaps, whatever. But I thought that was intriguing as well. Just to kind of see that switch up there. Everything else, if I remember right, looked the same except for Hunter Brown being back. What does Hunter Brown add to the team? And obviously that's what it is. It's an addition because the guys in front of him played pretty decent too.
Hunter adds just another solid person to the lineup, another guy that what he brings to the table. He's heck of a blocker, heck of a pass catcher, and another just reliable guy. And to speak on the rest of our roster moves, that just shows how deep we are in depth, to where we feel as if we can play a lot of people and get a lot of people reps in different times and different places during the game. We just have a lot of guys who need reps and need time to play and need time to develop to see how they can really fit in our schemes and really fit in our system. But yeah, adding a guy like Hunter is another positive for the offense, because you get another one of your stones back. You get another rock back that what he can do. You've seen what he could do last year.
I was really impressed with the safeties against Mississippi State. Sam Robertson, Jaheim Ward, Moses Surwa, and Mike Smith. All four of them made some impressive tackles, wrapped guys up, brought them down. Mike Smith had a forced fumble. He did not get the credit for it, but I saw it with my own eyes. He forced a fumble and it went out of bounds. So he needs it. But nonetheless, I was really, really impressed with those four. And I know we talked on air and off air about these guys, and Sam had been kind of beaten up a little bit, and but he led the team. He looked really solid this week. And I tell you what, that's one of the things I was most impressed with watching that game, was just how they tackled guys. Because we've seen sometimes in past years where, if the back got through, then you need 2 guys to bring him down. Well, looks like these guys have no issues bringing guys down.
Yeah, the one thing about our team, and not just the secondary, but definitely the safeties, nobody's afraid to put their face in the fan. We're not afraid to hit, and we're not afraid of physical contact. And it's obvious in our secondary with our safeties, but even our corners, they'll come up and hit something good one time or two. Sam has been one of the more bright spots of the team because obviously he was a new guy, but as soon as he came in, he lit up the room with a smile. He's a great guy, super happy all the time. I mean, you can't say much more about positive things about Sam. He was a perfect compliment to Mike. He's another guy who comes up and just runs and hits and loves football. Like, you can't get enough of those guys in the room.
Last guy I want to talk about is Jacob Baker. We had him on the show 2 weeks ago, and he goes for 7 punts, 304 yards, 43.4 average with a long of 52. And I felt like early in the game, he was getting the distance, but he didn't have the hang time. And I wondered if it was going to get fixed in that game or have to be afterwards. But after about his 3rd punt, it seemed like he finally started getting a little bit of air underneath him as well. And they were still going. Obviously you hope you don't see Jacob a whole lot on the field on Saturday, but I know we've talked about him. I know we talked to him, but I just want to bring him up again because I think it's impressive what he's doing right now and what he's showing out there.
Yeah, our special teams is one of the main things that we were focused on improving, especially our attention to detail in our special teams. Baker, I mean, you've seen it. He has a heck of a leg. I mean, he has to calm down and put it all together. First game jitters. I get it, all that, and he's going against one of the most athletic teams he's going to see all year. But I mean, you got to shake those jitters off, and you can see once he starts to get comfy and get used to the steps, get used to the kicks, get used to atmospheres. Dude has a leg, and that's a rocket of a leg too. And of course, he can always fix the hang time. And I don't know all the logistics when it comes to special teams, but one thing about that dude Baker is he works hard, and he knows when he messes up, he can get that stuff fixed.
I love it, man. And we could talk about many more guys. We won't for sake of time tonight, but yeah, I'm excited to see this week because I think it's going to be such a different viewpoint of what we saw in week number 1 as well. And I just think the atmosphere is going to be dynamic for you guys. Couple of show announcements moving forward for the rest of this year. So Ryan's schedule and things like that, he's not going to be able to be with us every week. Hopefully still a couple times here and there. So we're going to replace Ryan with Jonathan Duff. So Duff's going to be joining us on a regular basis for the rest of this season. And then Ryan will come on when he can come on as well. And we'll definitely make sure when we're headed to Brady's to let you know as well. But we're excited to have Duff join on as well. He's been here with Ryan all along the way. He's been a guest on the show a couple times as well. And we're excited to add him to the program the rest of the way through. Then I made an announcement today on social media, and I've announced it to other people before, but my family's actually moving in March. We're going to be moving to Wisconsin for a ministry opportunity. And so we've decided that once we get through the football season, we're going to shut down the podcast and maybe we get someone to pick it up and continue it from some other way, but it won't be me. And so basically we'll get through the football season. We'll have a big finale show. We're going to get, I know A-Dub and Coach Todd are going to come on, and we're going to get a lot of people on that finale show. But just giving everybody a heads up, the Sports Stove Local Hour will be winding down at the end of the calendar year. And man, we've enjoyed it. It's been fun. I'll tell you, Ryan, my dad mentioned to me again this week just how much you've grown on the show and how much he enjoys listening to it with you on it. And I've always appreciated your help. And again, this is not the last time you'll be on the show, but I wanted to say again, thank you for that. And we always appreciate our listeners and stuff like that too. So we'll still give you the best coverage all the way through football season. We still got some time. And then after that, we'll kind of shut the program down. And once I get moved and situated, I'll figure out what all I'm going to do podcast wise. But we're going to wind it down a little bit this year and kind of focus in heavily on this EKU football season. And hopefully we'll go out with a bang. We'll go out with some playoff games and things like that, maybe national championship as well. So that's what we're hoping for at the very least. But you can expect a new face next week when Duff joins us, and then again you'll see Ryan again, but it just won't be every single week as well. So man, I'm so excited for this weekend. I really do wish that I could be down there, but I'm excited to watch it and to get your guys' feedback, to hear the players' feedback afterwards about the environment, because I think it's going to be raucous, Ryan. I think it's going to be nuts down there this week for sure. So did you notice a change this week, or has it always been kind of that way for you guys in the locker room as far as the emotions of it? Because on the outside world, it got turned up pretty loud this week.
We've always been aware of how deep the emotions were going to be for this game, whether they respected it or not. We were going to come in expecting to win as we usually do. Coach Wells has been playing. Calwise should have talked about it. Coach Wells has been playing an old video of Roy Kidd always talking about beat Western, and when I die someday, I'm going to be screaming from the hill over there, beat Western, and how deeply it really meant to the people around here of Eastern. So we're aware of the importance of this game, and we're aware of how the people of Richmond feel about this game, and we want to showcase those emotions too.
Man, it's awesome. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm glad you guys get to do it. And I'm also super pumped that you guys have 3 state home games after this as well, because I will be at those. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that too. Follow us on social media at Sports Stove. I've shared the Topper Talk podcast that I was on this week on social media. You can also I got other things going on there too. We've got the NFL Pick'ems contest as the NFL's already started. The kickoff started about an hour ago. But you can join that contest if you want to. It's free to join. I've got another show coming out Sunday, a fantasy baseball. No, I don't have a fantasy baseball show this Sunday. Just kidding. We're going to have a local hour though this Sunday, and Duff will be with us. We'll be talking about the Western game, and we'll have some guests on with us for that as well. And then next Wednesday, me and Dad will be back talking NFL recap of week 1 and preview of week 2 and all that good stuff as well. So you watching football this weekend, Ryan? You going to catch the Chiefs-Baltimore game that's on now, or the Packers-Eagles game tomorrow?
A little bit, because I got a couple teams dabble in fantasy a little bit with the rest of the D-line, so I'll have to watch it every now and then. Yeah.
Well, we're big Packer fans, so we're pretty stoked about tomorrow night watching the Packers play. And then I get that Saturday, I get EKU on. Oh, man, it's going to be awesome. Good times. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in tonight. Don't forget about All Around Roofing. If you live here in Central Kentucky and you have issues on the exterior of your home, so that's roof, gutters, windows, siding, whatever it is, All Around Roofing can take care of you. Visit allaroundroofingky.com for more information on that as well. Big game this weekend. He's Ryan Jackson. I'm Vince Stover. Until next time, we'll see you around the sports stuff.